every month the headline gets all the attention. Jobs increased 375,000 last month. That's a booming economy. Now, honestly, how many of you think the economy is booming out there? How many of you are experiencing a booming economy? Well, the devil's, always in the details or in the background. Last month's, now the 375 was February's release. The month before that, January's numbers down in the fine print was revised downward 35%. It too had been a blowout at 350,000. Great number, shocked everybody. And it was revised down to 229, or a 35% drop. The thing is that December's was revised down. Out of the past 12 months, 10 of them have been revised down. That's not a fluke. It's becoming routine. Now, another thing that you need to know is that the non-farm payrolls comes from something called the Establishment Survey. This is a survey of businesses and asking them how many jobs they added. Now, in the survey, it doesn't discriminate between part-time or full-time. So according to this survey, a part-time job added counts the same as a full-time job added. Well, there's a second survey that doesn't get as much attention in the headlines, but it's probably more accurate. It's called the Household Survey, where households are surveyed. Can you define a term with the term? And those surveys have had some interesting results the past few years. Now, if you'll notice here, 220, and should have gone on further back, 2019, whatever, you see they're reasonably close. But
That's
starting
2020.
You start seeing some divergence. And then this divergence keeps increasing to where the household survey lags the employment survey by nearly 9 million jobs. So
can't imagine why.
Tell you, one, it could imply that people lost jobs, but they're taking on a part-time job, or they lost jobs, but they had to take on more than one job. So you've got here in the household, one person working. It doesn't survey the number of jobs, it surveys the number of people working. So if one person has a full-time job and takes on a part-time job, the household survey number doesn't change. The employment survey does change. It shows one job added. Household doesn't show any more people working. So we have seen records being set with the number of people working 2 full-time jobs. It's all-time highs, and it's going higher.
Or even 3 part-time jobs or whatever.
Exactly. Now, in addition, if you look at the data underlying the employment survey, which is released, 1/3 of the gains were in government and particularly hospitality jobs. What are hospitality jobs?
I would say hookers, but
and waiters and waitresses.
Yeah, that's true.
Jobs. So
yeah,
there have been some months where that's 60 or 70% of the jobs. Also, government hiring has really taken off. So you're seeing government and part-time jobs grow. You're seeing the private sector jobs shrink. That's a problem. Long-term problem. And, that's part of the reason why the unemployment rate rose. So, how do you create 375,000 jobs, yet more people are unemployed? Warn notices. A warn notice is a company that's big enough. I forget if it's more than 100 or 500 people, but a warn notice is from a big corporation that's going to have to start laying people off. Warn notices are at all-time highs. The labor participation rate didn't budge. The percentage of people in the economy working, the percentage didn't budge. Yes, ma'am. You look like you had something you want to say.
Does that include union strikes?
What does what include union strikes?
The employment, the unemployment, and the Warren.
The Warren does not. The surveys, if somebody is on a strike, I think they are counted as not employed.
Okay.
I won't swear to that. I have to check that. But when you start looking underneath the hood at all these numbers, and I mean it's the JOLT survey, it's PCE, it's I could go down the list. Particularly with quote unquote seasonal adjustments are trash. And it's trash in an election year. Now, am I crazy if I, kind of wonder if there's a connection between the two?
Well,
What do we know? And this is going to piss some of y'all off. But we know the number of full-time employed has dropped over the past year. Full-time jobs have dropped from 133,000 to 133 million to 132. And the drop has been sharp the last few months. It's down from 134 last November. Here's an economist, Antony, who points out full-time jobs are down 1.8 million since June of 23 and virtually flat since March of 22. So if I look at this chart, the blue line is full-time jobs. The baby puke gold is part-time jobs. And if I draw a straight line from here around March 22 going across, well, boom, full-time jobs haven't moved since March 22. So what does that mean? Well, and part-time jobs have declined since the middle of 23 significantly. So folks are probably getting, that probably implies folks are getting second or third jobs, boosting the payroll figure. So just further evidence as to what's going on underneath the hood. And I'm seeing more and more people start to criticize these numbers and talk about how there's getting to be too many coincidences for it to be an accident.